we are in a race. The race is against time.
A very warm welcome to you both, gentlemen. First question that came to my mind, Mr. Vosa, was why is Shell bothering? Why do you care?
We are going through the most energy-intensive and most probably the most food-intensive time over the next 20, 30 years. And hence, as businesses, as governments and as NGOs, we need to start to work together in order to actually deal with these scarcities in these very key resources which we have.
So, Mr. Abu Talib, how important is it to have real trust between the company and the city? How do you build that sort of relationship?
If there is no trust between governments and companies and NGOs and citizens, then you build not a trustful society, then you are building a society that is based on not trusting each other. And that is, I can tell you, a costly society.
Are you looking increasingly to those emerging markets, those Asian cities, those new flourishing in industrialized cities, and how have you been working with other businesses together with the cities in that part of the world in terms of furthering these initiatives?
It's clear we are focusing a lot on Asia and emerging cities, for example, and emerging countries, together with IBM, who is very advanced in the smarter city concept. We are working on emerging cities, for example, so we take this rather unusual partnership between an IBM and the Shell, but we have got common interests. We take this forward to learn on how we can actually do this.
Many of the big rivers of Asia have their headwaters on the Tibetan Plateau. So it's extremely important that we pay attention to this region and to the stories that the glaciers are telling us.
The carbon dioxide level in our atmosphere today is higher than it has been in at least the last 800,000 years. We've doubled the amount of nitrogen that we cycle through this Earth system around us. We've doubled the amount of sulfur that we cycle through the Earth system around us. About 40% of the total land surface that we have on our planet is used for some sort of agricultural purpose, either cattle or growing crops. We humans have a global impact.
It will take a change in mindset, and we should, I think, realize that whatever we do, we just have one globe, and everything is interlinked, especially through the air. If I cut a tree in the Amazon, the emissions of that will have an impact all over the world.
We traditionally take things, we make things, we put them into landfills, and we think it's environmental protection when we destroy less. We say, please use less water, reduce your carbon footprint. Copenhagen, Rotterdam, they all want to be carbon neutral. But you only can be carbon neutral when you don't exist.
Well, I'm here today to talk about biomimicry, which is innovation inspired by nature. It's a new science where we study nature's best ideas, abstract the deep design principles, and then apply those to human challenges.
We have a very special treat for you that's going to be served now, so please be adventurous and try it.
The people had a vegetable meat, a meat alternative made from Dutch vegetables.
From medical technology, we have now the capacity to grow tissues for replacement of organs from stem cells. But we can also use it for food production.
So 4 numbers should stick in your mind: 2, 50, 75 and 80. So 2% of the world's surface is actually covered with cities. 50% plus are living there now, population. 75 is the energy consumption in percent, and 80 is the carbon footprint that they produce. But this again would only be the numbers. What are we going to do about it?
So there you have it. There are our explorers and navigators, which I hope you'll agree have provided us with quite a breadth of flavors as to the future and how we might resolve some of the problems that our experts talked about this morning.
I'm just wondering, is there enough of an understanding amongst businesses, communities, and policymakers that these future challenges, that it's also very much a global security issue, it's an environmental issue, it's also about the economy and jobs, it's just all-encompassing in a way?
So first I'd like to say that what you do in the world is a choice, okay? So we all have a choice.
There is an interesting example already under the leadership of the city of Vienna in Austria. They call it Sea City. They built up a complete new city for 30,000 people. And their intention is to integrate all these new ideas and technologies and to bundle it into one system.
What we've achieved since early 1990s is to put together what I like to call the information infrastructure, so the equivalent of railways and pipelines for the age of information. And age of information is not just we're going to use some computers, it is about a different economy. It's an economy that moves bits rather than atoms.
Unilever is, instead of thinking of how can we use society and the environment to be successful, how can we actually contribute to society and environment to be successful? So how do you move from a negative footprint to a positive handprint?
I think one of the important contributions Europe or a country as the Netherlands can make is not just about reducing our own footprint or the amount of carbon we reduce, but is setting examples both in terms of technology development, which can be used, and in terms of cost-effective policies that address problems effectively.
And I think today is really saying that. It's saying, you know, there is a huge problem, we can deal with it, but we need to move fast and not work only with some pilot projects and do little things, but do real big things together. And I'm really welcoming that.
And I had the chance, aged 4 years old, to sail for the first time. I could not believe the feeling of freedom that I felt when those sails were hoisted. And then I made the decision that one day I was going to sail around the world. And that journey was extraordinary. I realized I needed money, I realized I needed sponsorship, but having a destination gave me a journey. And I never ever thought I'd stop. I stopped because on that boat, you manage a little world. What you have with you on that boat is all you have. 2,500 miles away from the nearest town is the closest shop. If you run out, there is no more. And you understand, for me, for the first time in my life, the real definition of the word finite.